everybody. Thanks for joining us for PIK Presents Live from the Knitting Wars. I'm Deplorable Knitter. We have the fabulous Ann Pinkova, and I was getting ahead of myself. I was going to say Polka Dot, and then it was Ann Pinkova, and oh my goodness. And we have Polka Dot. So hey everybody.
Hi. Hi.
Thanks for coming. Listen to Adam. He says hit the like button. You know,
yes,
tell folks that we are awesome.
Yarn tootin'.
There you go.
That's great.
But Adam's the best. He's our hype guy.
Best hype guy. But for those of you who are disappointed, we did say that Birdie was going to be on today, and she couldn't make it. Had a bit of hay fever. So hopefully soon.
We're going to talk to her. Whether or not it's a live or regular episode, we're working on getting that going. So you'll hear from her soon. We'll hear her drama about being, you know, the most hated artist on earth and all those things.
For being
a good time.
Punk rock turf artist in England
right
now.
Yeah. Ooh. I wouldn't want to be in England right now. Everything there is just crap. Sorry, Neil.
Sorry, England.
We still love you, but and our other friends there, but I wouldn't want to be there. So, what's happening, friends? It's Tuesday. What we got going on? Anything fun?
Well,
no.
Sweater.
Oh.
Ant's working on her sweater. Want me to make you big?
Nah, you can see it where it is.
All right.
That's so orange. It's a sweater. I'm excited.
That's like Ant's favorite color.
It's
one of her favorite colors. You can tell when autumn's coming because Anne's making something in that color, generally. So,
are you following a pattern or you're winging it?
Oh, I'm following a pattern. There's way too many little cable things. It will. Hang on. It is orange like the pattern.
Oh, that's
cool.
Cute. Yeah, that's funny.
Are you making it as short as the pattern calls for?
I don't have enough yarn to do much longer. So
I've always debated about that style because I'm not sure how pregnant it would make me look. And so I'm not sure that I would want to knit that. I don't know.
That's just now. Just ruined the whole idea for me. I thought it was going to be very 1940s. And you're like,
Yeah.
So, but me and the style that I wear, it would just make me look okay. I'm just saying. That's how I carry my weight, right there in my belly. So if I had a short shirt on, people would be like, oh, when are you due? So that's all I know about it.
It's okay. I got it.
You'll be cute in it. I've seen you in person. It'll look adorable.
Thank you for your confidence. But I'll finish my sweater anyways, despite what you say.
It's all about the styling. I mean, anyone can pull off that kind of sweater. Like some people maybe just need a skirt a little higher, a different type of shape. Anybody would look nice in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Even you, PK.
Exactly.
It'll look lovely on you too.
Well, maybe Anne will knit me one because I'm not doing it.
Oh,
so
there you go.
She's like, not a chance.
I might have to make one of these.
I love that face, though. I thought we were internet married. What about me?
Matching outfits, matching little sweaters with your little pumpkin spice. That would be cute.
It would be cute, but Anne doesn't love me that much, apparently. So I guess that
we're not a matching clothes couple. You see them in public, that's not us.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
My husband, if we're wearing the same color shirt, he will like go and change. He'll be like, we can't go out in public like this.
I say the same thing with mine. Like sometimes we'll just happen to have the same color or this shirt pretty much. He always wears blue and V. So if I have it on, I'm like, oh, we match. That's so embarrassing. I'm not going to go change, but it's just like, oh, I don't want to be that.
Yeah, no, but sometimes it's like a black t-shirt. Like, dude, people wear black t-shirts. It's not like we are
that's what
like matchy, you know?
That's what he says to me, too. He's like, people can wear the same shirt. I'm like, oh, but we're married. I don't want to wear the same shirt as you.
That's too funny. Yeah, me, I don't care. Because I know how people are. And I know that nobody's probably even looking at us. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
no one cares as much about how you look other than you, pretty much.
Yeah.
No one's really paying attention.
Yep.
Yeah, I just had this conversation recently with someone who, like, I was shopping with my mom, and she was saying how, oh, she's a quote old lady, so she can't wear this type of shoe. It's too stylish or whatever. And said nobody cares as much as you do. If it's comfortable and you like it, wear it. It doesn't matter. So if it
Be
has
an
a
old
little
lady with cool
jazz.
shoes.
Oh yeah.
No, you should be an old lady with cool shoes. Like, who cares, right?
Well, I agree. Yeah. Well,
so.
I think Elon said something once about how you're only old when you keep saying that you're old. So as long as you don't say it, you're never going to feel, well, I mean, you may feel aged or whatever, but, or, you know, aches and pains, but in your mind, as long as you don't keep reinforcing your number of years, it doesn't matter. I think everybody should, you know, if you want to wear sassy shoes, wear sassy shoes. If you want to wear like hot pink, okay, be a sassy lady wearing hot pink. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, nobody cares.
No,
I agree with you.
No.
I don't know. I was feeling awfully old this week with there was this very pretty little blonde teenage girl who handed me the smoothie through the window. And, you know, there I am at the drive-thru, and she's like bubbling, exciting. She's like, wow, that's a big burrito. Hope it's a good one. Smile. I'm like, you are so adorable, you little thing. Thank you for my burrito. It's just like it was the almost matronly pat her on the head. You adorable child. I will enjoy my burrito. Thank you.
You know what makes you feel really old, though? When you go to the doctor and you're meeting a new doctor and they look like they're about 4 and you're looking at them going, how are you possibly a doctor? And when did I get this old? That's the part that really all of a sudden you're like, oh, shit, what happened?
Well, yeah, for me, it's like when someone mentions like something from 1999, I'm like, oh, that was like last year, you know, or like when I know that someone was born in 98 or 99, it's like, how is that possible? You can't possibly be born at that time. Like I was, you know, a child, like I was old enough to know what year it was at that point, even the 2000s. Like, you know, my niece was born in 2000 something. It's like, what? How is this a thing? This doesn't make sense to me. Like I'm in my mind, I've never changed number wise, but clearly I have. But in my mind, I haven't.
Yeah, no, there's something about it because my stepdad is getting older. I mean, obviously that's what happens to parents, but he's in his 80s now, and he says he doesn't feel any different except his body doesn't do what he wants it to. But in his brain, he feels the same as he always has. So. Yeah, Texas Chief Lays just said in my mind I'm still 27, but the rest of me, yeah, exactly. So
yeah, to be 27. Oh, that's some time ago.
And then Anne's a decade younger than me, and she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember this," and I'll be like, "But weren't you like 4?" Like, and she usually was, but she still remembers, so that's creepy also.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird that way. No, I was just I have a family thing that I'm going to this next week, and a couple of my extended family members I haven't seen for a while, and kind of the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, my one niece. I remember when she was born. She's 15. I haven't seen her in 5 years. That's a jump. That's
wow.
That's the jump from they were a kid when I last saw them to now they look like they're about 25. And it's really creepy.
Yeah. It's like, wow, I do not know this gal at all. Like, I'm so excited to meet her because really, I don't know her at all.
Yep. I'm with you. I get it.
Yeah, I was just watching my niece recently, and like I remember her when she was born, like a little, like I always say, like a little grub, like she was this little thing. And I was just the other day having an actual conversation with her about school, not just like, oh, what's your favorite subject? You know, do you like your teacher? Like, and a full blown conversation about the kids in her class, what her school is like details. And that just still weirds me out that I'm talking to a little, like a person now, and she's like 8, 9 years old. It's like, when did you get old enough to talk to? You're supposed to stay small, and that's about it. Like we've agreed on this a long time ago that you're gonna stay little, I'm gonna stay this age, and then we're not changing after that. But
we're just gonna parallel forever.
Yes, absolutely. And she has not listened to me.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's what my kids are doing. All of a sudden. One of them was standing next to their grandma the other day, and I was like, you've got like 2 inches and you'll be taller than her. Like, what is happening? How are you this big? It doesn't make sense. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, Anne's knitting her vest. Guys, I knit something. Can I just say I knit something? It's only this big, but it has a design and it's going to be a pattern because it's fabulous.
That's
But this
cute.
is not the yarn for it because it's not easy enough to see. Let's see if I got a spot where you can see it better. It's got cables.
Oh, nice.
It's got cables here, and then it's got like twisted stitches, and it's, I don't know. So I'm trying to cast it on, but can I count and talk and figure out if my math is right? No. Nope. So I probably won't knit right now. But I heard a rumor that you have new things to show us, Polka Dot.
I do. I just put them up today. This is my little bat. Let's see if he'll show. This is my little bat plushie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this is Bartholomew. Just so you're aware, is Bartholomew. And instead of bats, because normally with the fangs they bite and they're all like, they actually give hugs. So there's a little snap so that you can hug your hand.
You can like wear it around your wrist. That's fantastic.
Yeah, wear it around your wrist, put it on your bag. But like my nieces and nephews loved it. They were running around the house like just hanging it off of everything. So there's just my little bat friends. And they also link together. So like if somebody for some reason wants little friends.
They hold hands.
Yeah, they hold hands. See, they hold hands.
I mean,
yeah.
That's horrible.
So are they all called Bartholomew, or do they have different names?
No. Some of them, like one of them's called Brom, because like Bram Stoker. One of them's Broody. One of them's Flappy. Like they all have different names, but they're all in my Etsy. I try to make them like silly little names, like puns or something kind of nerdy. Other than that, I'm working on pumpkins, which I haven't finished yet, but like these are sample faces. So like a piece, this little face.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so I'm just embroidering.
They're gonna be fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, when I start making something, I have to make like 10 different designs because I can't pick just one. So there's going to be like 9 different pumpkin faces. There's 5 different bats, but then 2 different colors. Like it just, I also want to do skeletons, but we'll see if I get that far.
Yeah.
It's only the beginning of, basically the beginning of September. So I don't know if I'll make it, but we'll see.
I like it that you actually have planned ahead. I always am like, oh, I should do something for Halloween, and it's like next week. Like I never like think that far into the future, so it's
I had that problem especially last year because doing craft shows and stuff, like you have to book your spots well in advance. And I found that when I was pushing it too far close to the date, like I was sewing like so many hours that my machine broke, and then I had no machine for 2 weeks. It was horrible. So I figured during the summer when there's not really, other than, regular holidays, Halloween is more of I would consider it a bigger one. Start Halloween now, then start Christmas after that. Then maybe in December, I might actually have time to, I don't know, enjoy Christmas and not sew like Christmas Eve and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And, so we'll see. That's my theory anyway. I've never done it this way. So.
Well, I'm impressed because I never do it that way either. And I've got, Kendra says she hates Halloween but loves your bats.
Oh, thanks. Well, but thank you.
Yeah. And here, Anne, where are you selling your patterns right now?
Just Etsy and Lovecrafts.
Yeah. Mine are on Galilee Life and on my Patreon shop, actually. So,
hey,
just so you know, you can check them out there too. Although they charge more for if you have an iPhone, because apparently the iPhone store makes them, I don't know, there's something to do with the store that makes it more expensive. So all of the stuff is way more expensive if you're on an iPhone, just so you know.
That's weird. And Miss Polka Dot is on Etsy.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
There's Polka Dot. There's the Polka Dot shop.
Yeah, it's polkadot.etsy.com. For right now, that's my hub, but I am exploring like other websites because I find that, one of my biggest gripes with Etsy is since I opened, no matter if you try to search for me, you cannot find me. You only can find my stuff using a direct link. And I don't know why that is, like, because I've had other customers say, like, I actually can't find you. Like, are you still open? Are you still making things? I tried to contact Etsy and they'd said, oh, they can find you. And it's like, I'm telling you, they can't find me. Here's screenshots. Like, I try it myself and it doesn't work. They say, oh, well, if you search for you, you can find you. You can't find you because you're a seller. But I'm like, I'm not even logged in and I can't find myself.
That doesn't make sense. That's just
no, it doesn't. And I think like it's sort of limiting because I'm not really 100% an Etsy like backer. Like I don't really necessarily like how their website behaves. I don't like necessarily what people sell on there because I've heard rumors of different things that go on. So I'd much rather find a more wholesome source and a source that actually is able to get out to people. Like I'm not a huge Amazon fan, but I know that they have a handmade section. There's Shopify. There's also another one that I can't think of the name right now, but it's a website specifically for handmade products where the profit that they get from the website goes directly to helping children. So I would 100% go into a website like that instead of, Etsy. And I think in general, Etsy's kind of going down too.
Yeah. So it's polkadot.shop?
No, polkadot.etsy.com.
Okay, I'm just trying to type it out for the comments because somebody asked.
Yeah.
I figured out how to post comments to the chat last time we were on. I felt very fancy because for all this time I thought I couldn't do it from the screen, but I can. So woohoo. Yeah. So yeah, I sold on Etsy even after they banned one of my patterns, but then when they went to that plaid thing where you had to like provide your social security number, and I was like, I'm out, because I had heard weird things about that site, and I was like, I'm done with that. So yeah.
I mean, I figured because it was at the time when I started, it was like the handmade thing that I figured that's where everybody was. But then they also say that Facebook is a great place, but I'm not providing my driver's license. It's bad enough that, Etsy has my social. I'm really like, I'd prefer to keep my personal information other than they give, being a payment portal. Like even I think Square has their own thing. Just have somebody pay me directly. I don't need the risk of hacking. Like I just recently got a hacking letter, I think from Ticketmaster that like somewhere recently they got hacked. So I haven't even used Ticketmaster in I don't even know how many years, but now my personal information is yet again somewhere. Like I was involved, I don't know if you remember years ago with Target when they had their huge data breach. Oh yeah, I was in that one. Someone ended up taking lots of money from me. So I'm just done having my information in the hands of websites that don't take my security as priority. Like I don't release any customers' information. I don't say anything to anyone. None of that stuff is stored, anything at all. And if I take it seriously, I expect, big companies to, but not everybody does, like Target.
Yeah, no.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it's secure, except it's not.
Yeah, it's secure until something happens. And then it's like, oh, sorry, something happened. Whoops.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's some free identity theft monitoring.
Oh, thank you. Super.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, and
I
Etsy
just got
too.
that for something.
Oh, sorry.
No, I think the dentist got hacked, and I got it for myself and my husband and both our kids. Like the dentist.
Oh, wow.
I got credit monitoring from them because all of our information got stolen. Like, what? So
that's terrible.
It's just ridiculous.
That's crazy. But Etsy too has done the sort of like purposefully make it more difficult for you. And then you started seeing all these celebrity endorsed commercials of Etsy. And then the other day, the Etsy CEO, because I still get emails from them, was like, we love you creators. I'm like, oh, people are bailing. You don't do begging and groveling for no reason.
Oh, yeah. I don't get their stuff anymore. So I missed it.
Yeah.
But I think it all started to go kind of crap when they got those like star sellers with the purple stars and trying to get people to like offer free shipping, but shipping isn't free. If I offer free
Believe
shipping,
me, I know.
I have to pad my price of what I would charge. So
Oh yeah.
it's not free, and they're trying to compete with like Amazon, but it's not Amazon, and it shouldn't be
Exactly.
Amazon. So
Right,
yeah.
right. And they kind of don't really, as much as they say that they protect sellers and things like that, they kind of don't, because when I've had issues with a customer, not even anything bad, they don't have anyone's best interest other than their own. Like for some reason, in this one particular situation, somebody had paid and then they automatically refunded it to the customer when I had already shipped it out. Like it was one of those time sensitive things. But like, why would you give the money back to the customer when she didn't ask for it back? I didn't refund it. What are you doing?
Right.
And they all they cared about was like, oh well, we flagged it because we thought it was suspicious. Well, no one said it was suspicious. No one complained about it, and yet you took my money away. And you took, and the, not that the customer, like I worked everything out with the customer, it wasn't her fault at all. But as a website, they have these like automatic things, and then when you try to get help, they don't help you. They just say, oh, it's an automatic process, sorry, we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I had some trouble with them where like my card had updated and they were like, oh, we're going to suspend you because you haven't paid your bill. And I'm like, but there's no way to update the card on the website to,
Yeah,
like, they just, I'm not
yeah,
sad to be not part of them anymore. I won't lie. So,
yeah. I'm going to, when I've slowed down a little bit, I'm going to research having other platforms. I think there are other more reliable and more friendly websites. Like I don't necessarily I don't really want to be a part of a website that has shifty stuff in it, like these code words. And I don't know how true any of that stuff is. I didn't research it. I only heard grapevine wise that was a thing that was going on. And if I'm selling wholesome things for families, the last thing I want to do is be associated with a website that doesn't provide wholesome things for families. Like, no.
The platform that I use, Galilee Life, they're a Christian-based site. They're super nice.
Okay.
And we can talk about it if you're interested. It's not very big, but if you kind of are already directing people via your link, it's not like you would get extra. It's not like you'd be missing out on the searches if they're not finding you anyway. So, just a thought. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. I mean, it just, I think that on Etsy, I'm not growing as much. Like, I think there's potential where my stuff could, in theory, be pushed out. But I mean, because I'm not paying them to do the advertising, like you would have to, I forget how much it is per month. I guess because I'm not doing that, it's sort of like I'm behind the 8 ball, but make my stuff searchable and I might be able to get, naturally people might find me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's my soapbox about Etsy, but like, it's real annoying.
Yeah. Kat says that they have stuff that is for, inappropriate stuff, and her husband makes military pens and they won't sell them. Like, it's just messed up. I got taken off because I had a hat that said "Stop the Steal," and they said that they weren't going to allow it because it was misinformation and went against the election. So
a knit hat of misinformation.
A knit hat that says "Stop the Steal." It wasn't like I was like, Biden's a cheater. No, it was just, but they had all the Trump stuff that was like Trump was that he wasn't duly elected, and that was fine. It was just when anyway.
Yeah, I think that's messed up. I mean, if there are websites specifically for selling things, then let people make handmade items and sell them. I mean, I don't know, there shouldn't be bias in that, but there's clearly bias there, and like on not unlike other websites, like I guess Instagram is a little bit that way too, and
a lot of
Facebook.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Zuckerberg came out today or yesterday and said that he, on purpose, didn't push the laptop story last election cycle.
Oh, really?
And I was like, so he helps suppress it. Is he coming out with this now because he's scared that Trump might get back in and it'll come out anyway? Or
he's been doing a couple of like well, first off, he clearly got some sunlight and he looks like a real human being. And then he's doing the, okay, and I was sorry for things. And also Trump looked really cool in that one thing. And yeah. Like, but are you changing, sir? Like, that
Well,
would be
I heard that he like started exercising and eating meat, and all of a sudden he's not a sad soy boy anymore. So go figure. It's amazing what happens.
I guess
If you wait.
I guess after the assassination attempt, I guess certain people are noticing that it's going to be cool to be conservative. Like that's the new hip trendy thing. So my guess is Zuckerberg, not unlike other celebrity types, are probably going to try to get ahead of that so that people can't accuse them of being the other way, because that's not going to be attractive or
It's not
cool
going to
to
be the
us.
thing anymore. That's interesting.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's my theory. I base it on nothing, but it just. I guess the left or non-Trump side, I don't even know if you would call them far left or whatever anymore, but they've gone so far the other way that anyone associated with anything not Trump or not the conservative end is probably they'll be put into some like nasty kind of soup. So I guess most celebrities don't want to be put in there.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Well, when it was trendy to condemn Trump and to say, that the assassination attempt was fake, that it was, what they say, shrapnel or something like that. Like everyone was saying, like, oh, that's fake. That he cut him. I was like, this isn't wrestling. He didn't cut his ear. Like, this is like, that's ridiculous. Right. I saw it on TV. Like, that's not. Yeah. It was not fake. But
and it's like, and people died. Like,
yes, there's also that.
People died. Like, how are we faking that one? Or is that part
my guess is the people who have the type of mind who would think to fake that are just projecting that onto him. Like, and I'm not saying Trump is infallible at all. Like, I'm sure not in that case. I mean, he got shot at, but they would say like, oh, well, he would just fake that. Well, what kind of person would fake an assassination and have other people killed? What kind of a person does that?
Well, I think when they say these things, we have to think about the fact that it's stuff that they would actually do, and that's why they're saying it. Yeah. Trump is a threat to democracy, as we just watched them overthrow the current president and place somebody else in to run in his place. So they just tell you what they're going to do. That's the problem.
And also in a very shallow sense that, okay, so I know someone who was saying that it was like right after it happened, and he's like, oh, well, I heard it's fake. And I'm like, not to show you the bloody photo, but it was out. What are you saying here? And it's like, oh, it's a faked assassination attempt. And it's like, do they even know not just the headline, but like they're, if you think of it as an article, headline, byline, first sentence, second sentence. Have we got as far as the second sentence? We're not talking about the second paragraph even. Hey, Trump assassination attempt, people shot in the audience, other stuff is like, do you know about the people shot in the audience? It's really unclear, because that would be a very easy follow-up, but it's like, I don't think they even engage with it that deep for the whole situation. So it's like, what about the other person who died? Like, oh, well, I guess it's like, you got to think it through.
Yeah.
You have to remember, a lot of people don't have as much information as we do and the people we hang out with do. They get their news in little snippets from I was just talking with my neighbor. She's super great and I think she's wonderful, but she's like, I don't watch the news. She is conservative or right, but she's like, I don't watch any of the news. I have no idea what's going on. Those are the people that get these ideas and go, oh, well, that makes sense, because they don't know any better. They don't watch enough of it to know all of the stuff that happened. They weren't there like I was that Saturday afternoon, watching it play over and over and over again, because once I heard about it, I couldn't turn it off. So
absolutely. Like, I mean, I've been guilty of not watching the news for a while, but like it's gone too far that like it really is. It would be a disservice to not be informed, especially going into this election. It's probably one of the most important in a long time. And I was even just saying this earlier that I would love to know what the argument is, a strong PowerPoint presentation argument that would be against voting for Trump. I'm not like whether you want to nope out and not vote at all, explain to me why that's a better option than voting for him or voting for Kamala. What exactly is your reasoning? And it can't be because he's a white man. It can't be because I don't like his personality, or it can't be because he's a jerk or he cheated on his wife or whatever it is. I want to know facts and a reasoned argument for why you wouldn't, because I have many points of why I will. Like I just I don't understand that, because especially to vote for Kamala, like I know a lot of ladies are like, oh well, she's a woman, she represents me, but does that really, just because she's a woman, like that's your
anything?
Well, that's like it's like going to the mechanic.
Worst archetype of woman,
right? Yeah. It's saying I want to go to the mechanic, and oh well, this mechanic happens to be Polish. I'm going to go with him because I'm Polish, or I'm going to go with this guy because I'm Italian. Like that's ridiculous. Why would you base it off of something that you don't choose to be? She didn't choose. Well, I mean, depending on who you ask. I mean, she didn't choose to be a woman, so why would you? That's the only qualification. Like I want competence for our country. I want competence in a doctor, competence in a mechanic, competence in whoever I'm dealing with. Her being a woman or her being a woman of color is not enough of a reason to me to vote for her. Like I want give me the full, I would say, give me a PowerPoint presentation that will explain to me why that is your position. Maybe I'll listen to it. I might get angry, but like I would love to know what it is.
And especially on policy, because I mean, just what little I saw of the DNC. Okay, Trump bleeds policy. Like you can't shut him up about it. And he's going to talk about Iran, and he's going to talk about the trade deals, and he's going to talk about making deals with Boeing jets. And he's going to go on and he's going to talk about the border, and he's going to talk about families, and he's going to talk about foreign policy decisions. And he's just going to keep going, and he's going to talk about the trade deals, and he's going to, the deregulation, and I got to deal with that. Nobody else could do that. And he's just going to go. There's no stopping him. And even when he stops with a, hey, great band tonight, right? Like a pep up the crowd. Hey, we're going to do a poll. Let's do a poll. Even then, it's always pointed to a policy decision. And the DNC was very like, so one time I was walking and then I met my family member and it was nice. And we're like,
nobody cares.
And what are we doing here? And it gave me a lot of hope. And like, okay, what is your policy?
Yeah. So, but I got a question for you, Polka Dot. How long have you been married? You've been married a while, right?
A while. Too long.
Yeah. So this is my thing, right? I'm sure you love your husband. You've been married to him for a while. You're going to continue to do that. Do you love every single thing he does?
No.
Sometimes you look at him and you want to punch him in the throat, right? Like sometimes he does something.
Yeah. Yeah. And likewise, I'm sure he's not 100% in love with everything that I do. But ultimately.
But my point about that is that it's what I've been saying about Trump for a while now. I adore my husband. I have been married to him for, 11, 12 years, something like that. And I think he's wonderful. I don't love every single thing about him. Why do we look at a politician and think that we're going to be like just in lockstep, love every single? No, I kind of think Trump is kind of a jerk, and he's braggadocious, and he can be annoying. But when push comes to shove, I like what he has to say about how he's going to run our country, which is really all that matters. Right. Correct. And if I can be married to a guy that I sometimes wish that I could just, shut the door on him and not have to listen to whatever he's saying, why would we expect that this politician who is just a man, we're going to be like, oh, I love him. Oh, I love him so much. No, it's not life. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. I mean, there are people who hold on to specific things that he's for, like the abortion ban thing. Like, I don't know enough about it, but I know that there's a bunch of people who are not going to vote for him and are really upset because he won't ban abortion, that he's going to leave it up to the states, is my understanding.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's one thing that you don't agree with him on. Fair. You're entitled to have your opinion, but you don't care about the rest of the stuff in the country. Like, abortion is
Right.
not our biggest problem right now. It is.
And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, and look at the other side, who was providing abortions at the DNC. So,
Is
like,
that true though? The abortion bus, is that true?
I heard it was.
I heard. I don't know if it was true.
How
I've,
many,
like-
ma'am?
From what I heard, there was 25 abortions at the DNC.
Oh,
Yeah.
So my point about that is, okay, so you don't like it that he gave it back to the states, but he took away the federal mandate for it. So at least it's a step in the right direction of what you wanted. Like,
Well,
right.
it goes back to that, like, you're not always going to love everything, but it's better than what it was.
I agree.
It's better than people giving abortions at the DNC.
And also with Trump, okay, don't watch the sword, watch the eyes. Okay, because he's talking, he's moving, he's doing everything. Look at what he does. Okay, so he has this thing where, okay, so RFK Jr. comes out and endorses him. Trump says something like reproductive rights are going to be so much for women are going to be so much better under us. Or that's not what he said. You know, like my campaign will be good for women's reproductive rights. I think that was how it was put. But and then people are like, oh, well, this means abortion. And it's like, look at what he's done. Look at what he's done. Look at the pro-life judges he's done. Look at the policies. Look at overturning Roe versus Wade. That is Trump. Okay. And then he brings it back to the states. Okay. And his own opinion hasn't really changed, that he seems to be for abortion in limited cases. But the thing with Trump is that he always directs it back to what the people want. So if what the people want is abortion bans in their states, they have it right now. They have it right now. And if you want to campaign for it in other states, you can have it right now. Okay, if you have a federal abortion ban, then that can also be overturned, just like Roe versus Wade was overturned. So, take it where you can, man.
First off,
I don't know.
Helen Angel says, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll hold it.
Just that it was a gross display showing that abortion wasn't meant to be safe and rare. They just want it as birth control. I think that there's so many other ways that we can do it without having to have abortion be the only part of the issue. There's a lot of things that can be done to help prevent pregnancy. And that's things that we need to start pushing. Okay, so I don't want abortion. I also think that people are not going to abstain. Like, unfortunately, that's life. So therefore, like, what can we do to make it easier for people to not need an abortion? Like, sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to.
No. I just, part of what baffles me, I guess, is that many people look to politicians like they're supposed to be a replacement for God. Like, they want a politician who is going to be all perfect, all knowing, always do the right thing, and do everything that I want. But I strongly believe that these people, and I'm not saying that they're bad people necessarily because I don't know them, but they seem to want to have God points, where it's like, well, I'm not going to vote for Trump because he is for abortion, and I'm the holiest, and I'm not for abortion, so give me more God points. It's like, that's not how life works. And would it be great that abortion doesn't exist? Absolutely. But that's not reality right now. It may get that way someday. I don't know. But they care more about not having abortion, but they don't care about having kids learn about sexuality before they're ready. They don't care about having kids being parents not having rights to knowing about their kids' trans stuff or any of the other weird stuff that happens in education. That's okay. Like, it's okay for you to walk into a women's room and there's a man standing there. That's fine. But because abortion is the hill you're gonna die on. Like, that I'm not clear on. Like, all the other things you can argue are against God if that's your belief. But abortion is it? Like, that's I don't know. Well, I'm not so sure about that.
And also, okay, let's look into the very recent past of our Republican candidates. Like, are you throwing a hissy fit because we're winning too much? because we're getting too much of what you want done? Is that it? You want to hold out your vote because you think that that's going to put more pressure in a certain direction? Is that the bargaining chip going on right now?
I don't know,
Well,
but
they always want a boogeyman.
Yeah, it's like, you think Mitt Romney would have done any of this at all?
he's so mealy-mouthed. He didn't know what he was doing. But Cinco Farm says that, Trump's not pro-life enough for her, but you got to chip away at it a little at a time, because now this is where we are. So you can't just be like, I want to go back to the way it was in the 1900s. Well, unfortunately, that's not where we are. So you got to work with what you got. And Anne talks about June being, sorry, I'm not part of your liturgical calendar. Like, they have taken their politics and made it into their religion, and that's the problem. When you have a hole in your life, you have to find something to fill it up. And so therefore, I think that that's why we have so many people who are so rabidly about their politics. I mean, we're kind of rabid about our politics, but we try not to be totally crazy.
It's kind of a show.
Well, it's what we do, right? But
I don't know. It's hard not to be. I tried it feels like for so long to not say anything about anything. Like, just, keep my mouth shut. It's not anything, you shouldn't bring in my political beliefs into whatever, but like, you can't, it's gone too far to the point that it does impact everything. It really does. You can't ignore it. And I would love to know the rationale behind, especially not voting at all. Like, why? How? I don't understand.
I know, there's been a lot of, just through this entire election cycle. And okay, look, I've always been into politics. I've always been a very political person. This is my sports team. And a lot of y'all have just been coming in for the past seasons. I'm like, no, I'm decades in. I am lore deep. This is my game, man. I know what's going on. And it's like, oh, but this, but that. And but people who were, I don't understand, still being iffy about Trump after the 2020 election at all.
right.
Because that happened, and I said, screw them. And I was on the team before, and I'm definitely on the team now. And no, we are, this election is one big FU to what happened. And that is enough for me to vote for Trump forever. Okay,
Anne always says, I'm just going to vote for him harder.
Exactly. But then, like, things would happen down the line of Trump indicted, and people like, wow, I'm really voting for him now. And I'm like, good, but
I'm glad you're here, but
good.
Yeah.
With it. And then it would be like, Trump convicted. People were ticked, and rightly so. And then they're like, yeah, now I'm voting for him. And I'm like, again, thanks, but what about the previous made you not want to vote for him? And then, assassination attempt, and people are like, whoa, really voting for him now? And I'm like, whoa, seriously, guys, why weren't you on the team? Get on the team. And further and further on.
Polka Dot said something about how can people not vote at all. And I was listening to Dan Bongino, and he had on Scott Pressler, who has moved to Pennsylvania. He is maybe he was part of Walkaway. He has moved to Pennsylvania to register people to vote in Pennsylvania to help flip the state. And he was talking about how the Amish have started to register to vote. And they have historically never, because now there's the things with like vaccine mandates and stuff that would affect them that they don't want to stand for. It goes against their religion and stuff. And so, I've never been the type of person that wouldn't have voted, but also I can see where, like, you can tolerate this until all of a sudden it's that one thing that you can't tolerate anymore. Like the Amish with the vaccines, or dude, why do you think I homeschool? I love my kids. I love being with them all day. But part of it is because I know that everybody out there is crazy. And I don't want them putting their, like, we're crazy too, but we're a harmless brand of crazy. I don't want them putting their crazy on my kids. Like, we need, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up the Amish. There's a guy, I had to look up his name. His name is Peter Santinello. He's on YouTube. He does a sort of like a travel show, but he also interviews different groups of people. He interviewed the Amish. He interviews Hasidic Jews. Orthodox, like all different kinds of people, all different states. He went to the border, so he's dealt with border police, border patrol, all that kind of stuff. And they really did mention in the one-on-one interviews, especially with the Amish, that they are going to vote. I don't remember specifically if they said for Trump. I would, infer that. But they're really not happy with things. And otherwise, anyone should really look at his channel. It's super, super interesting, especially with the border stuff. Because as much as you would hear about like the news, they really don't cover it. Like when you actually see people in groups, you see the IDs on the ground, you see all sorts of byproducts of what's happening down there and how the officers feel, how local folks feel, and all that kind of stuff. It's really, really interesting to get a firsthand opinion on that. And again, these people are actually in it, so they're passionate about it. I guess maybe people who aren't voting may feel like it doesn't impact them, so why should I bother?
Yeah, I know a lot of people who, I think my husband, we weren't terribly political before the first Trump election, 2016. I think that was the first election that he voted in. Like I helped him get registered and stuff. Like I think because all of a sudden you see like, oh shit, stuff is happening. Like but it takes time. And we had kids at that point, and he's like, we need to be involved because now it's not just me. Like if the world goes to hell in a handbasket and I'm the only person, I guess it's all right, But what was the channel name again? I didn't catch it.
Peter, and then it's Santinello, Santello.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting channel, not just for travel stuff, but for learning about other people and learning what's actually happening in these areas. Like I think he went to Ukraine, he goes to 4 other foreign countries. I think he went to Iran. Like he's been pretty much everywhere, like every place. And just learning directly with the groups of people, learning how they think. Like he did a whole series about Mormons. It's just really, really fascinating. Really, really good. And it's not necessarily, he's not super political, but you can kind of feel snippets of it as he's gone to these other areas. Everything just ultimately gets kind of political, and knowing how, especially knowing how these firsthand people feel. It really is an eye-opener.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, we didn't mean to get that deep that quickly. I mean, usually we wait till the second hour for the crazy political rants, but
sorry.
No, it's just
I'm
so
out
much
and
has
proud
been
now. I can't help
happening.
it.
You're what?
I'm out and proud now. I can't help it. Like it always ends up turning that way now.
It's funny because when we started this conversation, I was like, oh wait, I think I'm not supposed to talk this much about this stuff. And then you jumped right in. I was like, okay, never mind. We're good.
Genuinely, like it is impossible for me now to hold my tongue, especially with everyone always says that whole cliched line of with everything going on, but like it's true. So much has gone to pot that it would take too much of a filter, which I no longer have, to not say anything.
Yeah.
Like it's good to be polite. Like I would not I'll do my best at craft shows not to be like, listen, and if you're gonna buy this, you're gonna have to vote for Trump too, because I swear to God, if you don't. But like,
I mean, that would be an aggressive sales tactic.
Yeah, like, it's more aggressive than I ever am. But like, still, like it just, other than being like totally overt about it, it's just I mean, I don't have kids right now, but hopefully when I do, I want them to live somewhere that's safe. I want them to have a childhood similar to like what we remember, and if not better. I don't want them to be exposed to the things that are out there. And Trump is not the guy to solve all of our problems, but it's a start. Maybe it'll inspire other people to come forward and get involved in politics. Maybe, it can do something. And I think that if you care about your own future and you care about your loved ones' futures, you care about children, I don't understand why you wouldn't have the same, the same position. Like it's baffling to me. It's almost like the people who don't want Trump or don't want or who want Kamala, I should say. It's like you actually you don't care about anything. You're living for today, and whatever happens tomorrow, oh well. If you end up going to like prison for something you say, like in England, if you say something, you're going to jail. That's not the type of, I mean, that could very well happen here. I don't want my kids to be somewhere where they can't have an opinion. That's not what this country is supposed to be about. Like, that's so.
Right. There was,
Yeah.
I cannot remember his name at the moment, but there was a guy talking online. I listen to a lot of Dan Bongino. Since the assassination attempt, he's been like my one podcast I've been listening to every day. So he was on Bongino. It was a clip Bongino played. And he was talking about how they're going to be able to use technology to monitor us. And like, if you're watching the news and you get mad and you're like, your heart rate goes up and stuff, that their TV is going to be able to tell them that you aren't right thinking.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's like freaking terrifying. And then I just saw that Australia is going to have a social credit score.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
Wow.
And how freaking horrifying is that?
That's awful. Like
to use social media, you're going to have to like have a verified ID, and you're going to have to, you're not going to be able to be anonymous anymore. I would have to be out here with my real name, and so would you. And if you're not saying the right things, you're not going to be allowed to do it. Oh yeah, I forgot that's not your real name. So yeah, you're going to have to figure out what that really is and let us know.
I don't even know if this ain't me.
Yeah.
I'm very confused.
But it's I think that, and I think Bongino's a little over the top, but he keeps saying with the way Kamala was put into the position that this could very well be the last actual election that our country has, since they so blatantly put her in without any sort of primary or votes and it's freaking terrifying. Yeah. And everybody should be concerned.
Yeah,
and I don't. Yeah, it's horrible. So anyway.
Yeah, it's gone too far, and I think that I think someone had mentioned in the comments, it's being quiet is what dooms the country. It's how things get to where they are, and I'm sure the people in the UK did not want what's happening there. I mean, I would assume they don't. It doesn't sound very. No. It's not the type of lifestyle that I would expect them to have, and yet there they are. And what can they do about it? They can just leave, but that's a bigger decision. You're literally moving to another country because of it. Like, at least right now, whether you're in a red state or a blue state, and say if Trump gets elected, if you don't like where you are in your red state, go to a blue one. At least you're not in an entirely different country. You can still technically drive somewhere else. But if someone from the UK left there and went to us legally, hopefully legal, as a legal import, they'd be losing their entire family because they're making that decision. That's a huge deal. Like I don't want us to end up like that. I don't want to be afraid, and I'm not as paranoid as some other people about like going outside and going into like ghetto areas. It kind of is like whatever to me because I've grown up in ghetto areas. I know where to be and where not to be, but I don't think that we should let it get worse. I don't want to see like that guy Peter's show YouTube channel. If you see the Philadelphia one, it's shockingly bad what's going on out there. All the drugs, they have like this one area where it's like, I think they call it open air drugs, where like you can just freely shoot up and do whatever you do, overdosing everywhere. People are going to the bathroom on the street, and it's just, why would you want to live somewhere? We're getting bad now. Why would you want to let it continue? And I'm not convinced anything that Kamala has said. Like, what is she saying to stop it? She's currently VP, so why is she not doing it now? Why?
Yeah, I love all of her day one. On day one. Well, honey, what are you doing right now?
Exactly, because it's not like she came out of nowhere. She's been there for 3 years. What have you done? I assume that a VP has some kind of a policy and they've done something. I mean, foolish on my part to
mean,
think VPs work, but like, what has she done?
We do know that she cast the tie-breaking vote for the Inflation Reduction Act, which actually made things worse. So we know that she did that. I mean, yeah, she voted for taxes on tips, although now she's trying to, walk that one back. But
whatever.
And while we were talking, I just wanted to point out that Nitsanak says that Instagram already monitors your facial expressions via your front-facing camera to better ad target. Which is freaking creepy, and also, I guess I better cover that.
How long?
I'm gonna have to shut that off.
Scroll.
Yeah. What, Ann?
How long you pause on something when you scroll.
Yes.
That's what I figured it was. I had no idea about the camera thing.
Right. But also kind of with the English thing, and oh man, wish Birdie was here. Because again, she's living in it.
Yeah.
But okay, England's infrastructure with as far as policing goes is so poor right now. It's so terrible that, I mean, with them throwing people in jail, it's kind of a shoot a hostage situation. You couldn't possibly get everybody in England who is saying the wrong thing. So they have to kind of pluck one or two out of the crowd to warn the rest to shut them up. It's like, but they actually can't stop you. I mean,
Right.
Sucks if they get you, but also how do we come through to the other side of this situation unless that happens, which again sucks. But it's like, okay, how do we push through this? How do we go for more free speech? How do we do these things? Unless you kind of look at that like, okay, well, I'm just gonna speak my mind then, because I have to, because there's no way this gets better if I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, is it true that Walls is not for free speech? Like, that's his thing of like, I don't know all his policies if he even has any, but I heard a rumor that he was anti-free speech.
I don't know. He seems to think that communism is being neighborly, so I wouldn't be surprised if he said he was anti-free speech. I haven't heard it personally.
I didn't see the clip. It was a post saying that First Amendment isn't a guaranteed right, but I didn't actually watch the clip of that one.
No, that is true. I saw that too. So my guess is that it must have come from somewhere.
Wow.
But I mean, Tampon Tim, he's the dude who pushed so hard for tampons in the boys' rooms in elementary schools. Because why?
I don't know. I you know what? No, I mean, having hung out with boys most of my life, not in like a sassy way, but because I'm tomboyish, right?
Mhm.
I can't even imagine if the boys had access to tampons. Can you imagine how many toilets would be flooded and all the like hijinks that would happen? Not even in a
not way. That I would encourage that, but that seems to be a way that would make them stop being put in the men's room, lads.
Well, I mean, I do know that when my brother was small, he found some under the sink and he popped all the middles out and he was using them as telescopes. So, I mean, boys are going to do weird things. It's just like they'll put life.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, honestly, but that's part of childhood. Part of childhood is doing stupid things. It's drinking hose water. I mean, you wouldn't now because of bleach and stuff, but it's like going outside, making a mess, being covered in all sorts of gunk and mud and whatever, playing with army men and going in a sandbox. But like, and if there's tampons in a boy's bathroom, you're making them more adult than they need to be at that time. I don't want to, I think it would be disgraceful to have a conversation with a bunch of young boys about, now these are tampons, and if for some reason you feel like a girl or whatever it is, this is what they're for. Don't tell them that. Just, why would you do this?
And again, put them where? I'm sorry to say that, but it's a valid.
Well, I was under the impression that they were for the trans boys.
Is that what it
is? For the girls that are trans.
Well, whatever. But why should they even be aware that there are girls who think that they're boys? Like, why is it illegal to be a tomboy? Why, I don't understand. But like, we should not have that kind of stuff in the boys'
Yeah.
room.
Apparently, he gave maps as a protected class, which is maps as minor attracted persons, which is just a nice name for pedophiles.
I
So,
see.
yeah.
Oh.
It's weird, dude.
Freaking the whole okay. The whole sexuality thing. Kids are going to pretend, right? Like, I had one kid that pretended to be a superhero for, I don't know, like a year and a half. I never was like, oh, hey, jump off our roof and see if you can actually fly. Like
Right.
kids are going to explore things. They might, I don't know, if you got a boy and you're always painting your nails and they want you to paint, they're just trying to figure stuff out. It doesn't mean that he thinks he's a girl. Like we
Exactly.
just need to let people do the stuff. And you
Right.
know, I had a kid that was, honest to God, a cat for like 2 years. Like 45% of the time they were a cat, okay? I never was like, "Hey, want me to get you a litter box?"
Exactly.
Like, it's not, let them explore. How else are they supposed to know what is going on in the world if they can't play and pretend and try things out and push against, you know? And then my job as the parent is to be like, all right, well, now we're going to go to the store, so act like a human because we're going to be out in public. Like, you can't be crawling on the store floor. That's disgusting. Like, sometimes they need parents to be like, this is time to be a person, and at home you can pretend to be, I don't care. Like,
Yeah. Playing pretend
sorry.
and you know, dressing up, like when, you know, as little girls, you might want to, like, I'm a princess. You're not literally a princess. You put the
Right.
outfit on, you put on a little crown, but that doesn't make you royalty. When you, for Halloween, whether, you know, I know there's mixed feelings on Halloween, but if I wanted to dress up, I dressed up like a pig once. I was a pig for a day. That doesn't mean that I rolled around in mud and I ate garbage. And you dressed up and then you took the clothes off and you're back to yourself again. It's okay for kids to pretend. And I don't know why is it okay for them to fantasize about being a girl and being a boy? Why is that okay, but it's not okay to just play dress up and just,
Right.
like you're saying, figure out the world and just do things? Kids are trying, like you say, to understand the
They
world
got to
around
figure out
them.
where they fit and what's going on. And,
Yeah.
you know,
And
if I had a
also,
boy that wanted to wear nail polish all the time, I'd be like, hey, how about no? But, you know,
Yeah.
you can try
Well,
it
there's
out
certain,
once or something, but I don't know.
and also
yeah,
you have it impedes the kid's imagination too.
I
If
agree.
every single time, you know, if your kid's like, today I'm a lizard, and you're like, okay, now we have to treat your lizardness seriously. Well, the kids are
Yes.
going to stop doing that after a while. They're going to
Right.
stop trying to imagine scenarios. They're going to sit very, I mean, they might play video games or do whatever, but they're not going to tell their parents that they're doing anything, or that will be considered bad behavior because it has to be taken seriously by adults.
Right.
My kids,
Absolutely.
right before I came in here, were actually, my mother-in-law is here, so they were making her food and serving her different things. I mean, they're pretending. Like, some of the food was like these little, they're like little gummy toys that look like animals or
Mhm.
fruit and have faces on them.
Squishies.
Yeah, like little squishies, right? And like, they're just pretending. I'm not going to be like, okay, well, you said that's food, so now go eat that. Like, that's what these
Absolutely.
parents are doing, and it's just
Yes. Yeah, they're
ridiculous.
taking, like you said, Anne, they're taking everything so seriously that there's no room for just playing. There's no room to just say anything. Like, my niece did the same thing with food. Like, when she was little, she used to almost, like, I guess because she's been to diners, she's like, you know, what can I get you for breakfast? You know, here's pancakes, and they're plastic. I didn't actually eat it. She knew she's pretending. I know she's pretending, but we're having a nice time. She baked them in the oven. She puts pom-poms on it for sprinkles. It's letting them be creative, letting them just have fun, and
Yep.
just, you know, it really does stifle creativity. I never thought of it that way, but it's a really good point, that it totally ruins part of childhood. The thing which you can't do these kinds of things when you're older. Like, if I gave my husband plastic food to eat for dinner, he's going to look at me like, what's wrong with you? Like, what is this?
It's gonna be
But like when you're a
concerned.
kid, it's fine.
And it's super cute when you're a kid. If you did
Yeah,
it now, he'd probably
exactly.
be like, "What? Do you want me to take you out to dinner? Like, what are you
Yeah,
trying
like,
to tell me?
yeah, is this a hint for something? Like, what is this?
Did
But
you
like
forget
as
to
a
grocery
kid,
shop again?" That's what happens at my house. I'd be like,
yeah,
"Here's a sandwich because I haven't gone to the store."
that happened to
But
me yesterday. It's like, oh, would you like some avocados? Because I didn't go food shopping. I don't know what to do with these. I just cut them for you. Here you go.
But they're
I just
ready.
got you
Yeah,
avocado.
I hope you're hungry for something green, because here's what we got and some toast.
and, and avocados, they suck so bad because they're never ready when you want them to be. And so,
I've
of
learned
course,
how
that's
to,
what happened.
yeah, I've learned how to pick them now and like
Mhm.
know when they're cuttable, but still like it's kind of that would be fine. But if I gave like plastic avocados, like I think my niece had one where it's like it cuts in half. Like what do you? It's adorable when she does it, but if I were to do it, you take an adult seriously. You should never. I don't think you should take kids seriously, especially when they're trying to play pretend.
Right.
Like I can't tell you how many kids who go past my booth at craft shows where I have plushies and they're really other than the bats because of the button. I don't know that little ones would be able to do it, but like older kids perfectly fine. How many people would go to their kids who are fully interested in the display and the animals or whatever, and the parent is like, "You're too old for that." The kid is little; they barely can see over my table, and you're already telling them that they're too old for a stuffed animal. Why? Why are we teaching them this? I don't understand.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
totally. And I mean, imagination is a lot of perception. Like, if
Oh
you
yeah,
can't, I mean, even from a simple, okay, Americans get made fun of a lot of, oh, you'll use anything but the metric system. You'll use, it's 3 buses long. Why don't you tell me how many meters it is? Well, because I can imagine 3 buses. I
yeah.
can
Right.
figure out about how long that is. And it's like, well, part of that is imagination, conceptualization, playing scenarios through in your head. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
this happens, well, this happens, well, this happens. That's an essential brain building block. And if you're like, no, don't build that up, that's a developmental issue for your kids. If they can't, if they're not playing princess or cowboy or whatever else and going around saying, oh, well, what would happen next? Part of it is, you're telling your kids stories and stuff so they kind of know how narrative structures work. Also helpful, but it's like, what kind of things happen in a cowboy story? Well, this happens in a cowboy story. Well, the kiddos now know what happens in a cowboy story, so they're playing cowboy story. That you
Yeah.
need to follow pattern recognition. You need, how do people interact in situations? You need to play this out for kids. It's like, well, again, you're stunting imaginative structure. If you're a cat, okay, what do cats do? What are things cats can do? I'm going to play cat in cat situation is helpful for conceptualizing things.
Absolutely.
Like, kiddo needs to know, you go to the diner, you open the menu, you order the pancake come. I get the
Mm-hmm.
pancake, we eat
Right.
it.
It's true. Absolutely.
So, did you say that people really tell their kids that they're too old for your stuffed animals?
Yes. Yes, they do.
I find that so upsetting.
But how?
Yeah.
Anne
Yeah.
owns one.
Like,
Spicy. Look at
how?
him.
But
It's adorable.
like the conversation with my kids would be, now where would you put that stuffed animal because you have
Yeah.
74 others and you won't fit
Yeah.
in your bed anymore.
Yeah.
But
See, and yeah. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. Like I totally understand. There, kids get their toys way quicker than they see mine. I'm not offended at all. But I think
yeah,
what isn't right is when they say that they're too old for it. Like I
no.
do when they don't walk away that fast. I say, actually, I have adults who buy my stuffed animals. I really have people of all different age groups, online and in person, who buy them and enjoy them. Just so
Yeah.
you're aware. Like I'm not. And not just because it's mine. Like I'm sure other sellers of other handmade stuff that happen to be on the cute side I'm sure that struggle too. And I just think that forcing, especially it comes with mothers and daughters, like they're forcing the daughter to grow up too fast. Like they want a bestie, they don't want a daughter. Like they want a daughter that, well, they want a bestie that they can go shopping with, that they can hold a Starbucks cup with, or that they can like do grown-up things, get their nails done and get their hair done and all that. And yes, there are parts of childhood where you do enjoy time with your child, but ultimately the daughter should still be your daughter. Like she's
Right.
your baby. Like I don't know why that's illegal now. Like that they want, you know, it's like a status thing. Like, oh, well, my daughter is more grown up than yours. Oh, word? Like, are you proud of that? I'm not sure.
Isn't there a name for that in soap operas? It's like the soap opera rapid child aging syndrome, where they're like, and I had a fling and I had a baby. Baby's in high school now. And you're like, it was 2 weeks ago. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I think that what people don't remember is that kids grow up really fast, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like my youngest just turned 9. And so when they were, my first one cried all the freaking time. We never formally got diagnosed with colic, but from like 5 to 8 every night, the kid cried. Like there must have been something going on, right? For like 6 months. And I'm in the middle of it and I'm talking to my mom and I'm going, how am I going to get through this? And she's like, every stage gets better. Like, so like, I appreciate my kids. They're getting to be people. I can talk to them. We were painting a deck today. I was able to say, hey, you guys have been doing a good job, but look at, you missed this entire board right here. Like, so yeah, you can talk to them and you can teach them stuff, but they don't have to grow up. They're not going to be my friend. My job is to teach them. Like I'm friends with my mother now, but I'm 40. So it's and I don't know. I guess my point is that people just don't get the whole, they're kids, there's stages. Some stages are harder than others. Some, I don't know. But I don't understand why you want them to grow up too fast. That's all I.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, even if you are friends with your mom, like I'm friends with my mom, I talk to her all the time. I hang out with her. We always say we're going on shopping adventures. Like we're just going out. But ultimately, I will always be her daughter. If I have a daughter someday, she will always be my daughter. Like my cat is my baby right now. Like it's never going to change where we're going to be necessarily equal. And I think that more people need to respect that. Like you with your kids, you with your mom, like, you know, that your mom is more special than your friend. Your daughter is more special than your friend. Like they have these specific roles and it should be cherished. We shouldn't just take it for granted and just, you know, like, oh, I have a daughter now and she, you know, goes shopping with me, whatever. Or like, I don't even like my daughter. Like I've heard that too, where they don't even like the kid that they have. I've heard
that.
You know, it's
like and no offense, but part of that is your fault. If you don't like the kid you have, then you're not doing your job.
I was going to say, like, she didn't become that way out of nowhere. If say the daughter is a brat or the son is a brat, where do you think they came from? Where do you think they learned that behavior? Where did they, or where was that behavior fostered or discouraged? Like that's on you.
Yeah.
Maybe not all the time. I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule, but like kids, parents, I guess I always say like they're checking a box, and it's not easy for everyone to have kids. Like it's a struggle sometimes and disheartening when it doesn't happen right away. So they really don't know what they have. And I think that it is very sad when they don't appreciate it. And when they try to make this child, childhood is so short. Like even when you're in your teens, you don't really act like a kid. You want to be an adult. Like, you know, like you're not really whimsical. You don't, you're not really like having an imagination or anything like that. Like that is, the imagination part of childhood is so short. Why would you want to speed that up? Like,
no,
I would hope, you know, it's just, you're an adult so much longer. And who wants to be an adult, really? Like genuinely, with all the responsibilities and the bills.
But that's one thing that we've gained from homeschooling is that I have kids that are 9 and 11, and if they were in public school, they would be much more mature than they are now. And I'm around families with other people who their kids are also able to be kids longer because we are protecting them to an extent because they don't need to know about trans stuff and they don't need to know about tampons and they don't need to know about, and that's not a bad thing. And also this is what I was trying to say, but Jen said it way more eloquently. It's not my job to be my kid's friend. They have one mother. If I do a good job, then we get to do friend things. That's it. And I don't get these people who don't enjoy, like, oh, I only liked my kids when they were babies. Babies were hard. And then toddlers were hard. And every situation you're in is hard. But then when you get through it, you look back and you go, oh, well, it wasn't so bad. It was good. I kind of miss it. And that's part of, it's part of raising kids. It's part of the whole thing. And they should be allowed to go through those phases. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
And there's almost an element too of kind of being a controlling parent without being a correcting parent, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, well, kid, I wish your personality was a different way. It's like, well, that's great. What are you supposed to do with that? But also they, if the kid's a brat, they ought to have been corrected. But that part is apparently not their parents' fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, no, I want my kids to be this way, but I'm going to do it by being emotionally awful to them and not just doing, hey, stop. You need to stop.
Right. Yeah, right. Giving them direction, because I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. You're
fine. Kids are not born knowing anything. We are not born knowing what we're supposed to do, where we're supposed to go, how we're supposed to behave. These are things that we learn. And if we want to have a community, a society, or whatever that functions, you have to teach the next generation. I don't know. It just doesn't happen overnight. Like, kids they don't know these things. It just,
right. So
I don't know. It's baffling. But easy to say. Easy for me to say. I don't have children right now, so I'm sure parenting is a lot harder than me saying, you guys aren't doing it right. But
But you need to. My mother told me when my kids were small, parenting is always going to be much harder on you than it is on them because you're the one that is there every day going, you can't do that. You can't, take your diaper off at the church. You can't, like the stuff that I have to repeat every day is out of control. But that's how they learn to be people. And there are days where, like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to say it again. I don't want to have to correct you again. But then they're not going to be good people. Like, it's a job. It's not a bad job, but I think you guys know what I mean. It takes work, and it's not easy, and everybody wants their built-in best friend, or they want it, and it's not that. You got to teach them how to be people. That's why today when we're painting the deck, I wasn't just like, oh, you guys did a great job. Yeah, you guys did a good job, but look, you also tried to rush, and now look at all of these spots that we have to fix.
Mm-hmm.
So next time you do it, go a little slower and pay attention, because how are they going to learn?
Absolutely.
But anyway,
absolutely.
It's been a long day.
I was thinking with Anne's point about removing the creativity thing. It's almost like when you make creative things too seriously, like you say, like pretending to be a cat, and you take that super duper seriously, it's almost like when you stifle the child, all they're going to do is grow up and have some kind of mental problem or a personality problem, which of course then will be medicated, and then they're controlled by medication. And I know that's like, tinfoil hatty and stuff, but like, if you don't allow children to express themselves in creative ways with playing pretend or drawing or whatever it is, all you're going to do is potentially create a whole group of people who are reliant on medication, who are bending the knee to doctors, and then bending the knee to the government because the government controls the doctors. And it's this whole cycle of zombies almost. And is that really the type of world that we want to live in? I mean, I certainly don't. But again, if I had all the answers, I'd be running everything. But it just just as a thing of I never considered it that way, where making all these children things so serious, I never considered how much that has an impact, but it really, really does. It's a really good point.
Yeah. And I don't know. Kids, they need stuff.
They
They
sure
need lots
do.
of stuff. And it's long and it's hard. And
Oh yeah.
someday
But
you get to the
anything,
point where they don't need you every day and you can just talk on the phone with them and go shopping or whatever it is. But
mhm.
then I mean, I'm sure you guys do it. I still call my mom, especially when it comes to my kids. I'll be like, they're complaining about a stomach ache or this or that, or what do I do? And
Yeah.
you know, I call my mom and
Yeah.
complain about work or whatever it is because you still need that person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
the role of parents is so important. I think it would probably be one of the most important jobs that a human being could have. Like having all of the responsibility to raise this little thing to then go on after you, where you're not going to have any involvement in theory because you're gone. They have to go on without you. It's such an important thing to do, and I think that a lot of, unfortunately, and I can only speak on the women's side because I've known some where it's basically checking a box. It's like, well, I'm nearly 40 now. I might as well have a kid, but you didn't really want it. You don't, or maybe you want it for the status thing of having a baby, having a baby shower, having the baby bump, having the pictures. But it's a lot, like you say, it's a DK, it's a lot of work. It's a lot, it's hard, it's stressful. Sometimes you want to cry, sometimes you want to scream, but this is part of life. And anything that is worth doing is hard. It
mm-hmm.
doesn't just happen. Like marriage doesn't just happen. It's not easy every day. Children are not easy.
Like
But these are essential life things that,
they
whether
are.
somebody has it or doesn't or chooses it or not is whatever. But still, if you do choose that path, you really got to be all in, because if you're not all in and you're not going to fully embrace the role that you've taken on, it's just you not only hurt yourself, but then you hurt who you're doing it to. And the kid especially doesn't have the choice to leave you. Like your husband or your wife may leave you if you're a jerk, but what is
Right.
the child going to do? Where can they go? To them, what you're being, like, you're their barometer for normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
You are the thing that they're going to measure everyone else against. Like if you have a father or a mother who is horrible to you, when you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or get married, that's who you compare your spouse to. I can confidently say, like, PTSD and trauma and stuff, that stuff doesn't necessarily go away. That's there kind of for life, because you as the parent put it there. You can't just fluff it off of like, oh well, I had a bad day, so I like slapped my kid or I yelled at them really bad. That's the role that should be taken seriously, not if a kid wants to pretend to be a cat for a day or however long. That is the thing that should be serious, not the pretending. You put a litter box on that part, not on the cat play.
Right. And I'm sure, part of that is, we've all observed people who get into bad relationship after bad relationship, and you're like, why would you do it? It's like that level of tension and fractiousness in their relationship is like, well, that's what they look for because that's all they know. You're like, you could literally stop at any time. No, really, you could find someone and you could like have a normal life where you don't fight all the time. It'd be amazing. You should try it.
It's hard though. And when that's what's modeled for you, my first husband and I fought all the time. And I didn't know how to.
Not that all fights aren't worthy fights, but
No, but you learn from experiences, and so my parents got divorced when I was a teenager. They did fight often, so it's not you see what's modeled for you, but see, I like to look at it as my first one was a terrible thing, but now with my current husband, I know it's worth fighting about, and I know what's worth letting go, and so it is something you have to learn, and it's not as easy as just being like, oh well, I'm just not going to do that, because until you're in it, you don't. It's hard. And I complain about my kids, like I make it sound like parenting sucks. I think my kids are fantastic, but it's a slog doing it day in and day out every day when they don't go to school, and when it can be a slog. It's just like anything else. And so that's all I'm saying. Because I think they're the coolest people I know, almost. There's a couple others too, but
Yeah, no, I completely understand. It just,
but
Yeah, again, it's just because the parenting, it just these are your standards. Your parents are like, for better or worse, they are your standard. Like for a son, the mother is the standard for beauty, is the standard for how a wife should be, all these kinds of things. So again, to not take it seriously, and to, especially with a mother and a daughter, kind of not encourage your daughter to do good things, like encouraging her to be a brat, like to encourage a child to like, um, for a daughter to ridicule her father. Why would you encourage that? That is just, whatever mommy says to daddy, if it's going to be something that's negative, it shouldn't be done and encouraged by, it shouldn't be done in front of the child, I don't think. And it shouldn't be encouraged when the daughter says it. Like I was very snappy as a child. I know I was, but it was never encouraged. It was never like, oh yeah, good, you said that. It's like, you don't say that. That, like, who do you think you are? Like, you need to have respect. And respect, these are things you have to learn, because again, kids aren't born knowing these things. And and it's a wonder why they say like, oh, it's hard to find someone these days. Well, you wonder why, because not every adult, but a lot of them I'm assuming, and it's a big assumption, that their parents didn't give them boundaries. They just kind of, it's like, well, I don't want to be as hard on you as my parents were hard on me. So you get to just, run amok. And that's probably in a lot of ways what led us to where we are today, where you can't offend, you can't say this, you can't do that. Like, everything is an insult. Everything is a personal attack. Everything is personal. You wonder where that came from. It didn't happen overnight. And there's so many people who feel that way, who identify as, victims. Where did the victim mentality come from?
I'm so sick of everybody and their trauma and their.
I know,
You not
right?
getting your way as a kid is not trauma. Thank you very much. But
I know.
you were just talking about permissive parents and stuff. I just saw something that Megan Fox. I don't know if you guys remember her. She's an actress. I think she's in Transformers like 20 years ago. All three of her boys are trans.
I remember.
What?
Those are the only kind of actresses I remember. They were in something 20 years ago.
But she has 3 boys, and they are all trans girls, and it just makes you wonder, like, what is happening? That's not a kid problem. That's a parent problem. And how I wouldn't even know how to go about convincing my kid that they were the wrong sex. Like, what, do you just start like, did she want girls and then she got those boys and so she just messed with them? I don't know. Sorry, you talking about, people keep getting more and more permissive. I don't understand.
Yeah, I've heard that about Megan Fox, and I don't know what happens behind closed doors, especially when it comes to like celebrity kids and stuff like that. God only knows what things go on there. But like you say, to have 3 trans children, and what I don't like too is that they almost, it's like having a Gucci bag. It's like, oh look, I have trans kids, or I have a trans daughter or a trans son. I don't know that you should be broadcasting that and being proud of that. It would suggest to me that something went wrong somewhere, and I'm, something happened somewhere that led that child to think this way. And I would think that the parent should take ownership about what happened, whether, they were abused or something. I wouldn't be proud of that. Like, like in a scenario, if I had a child and the child was abused, and therefore the son became my daughter, I'm going to be proud that my son was touched by some guy. And now this is my daughter, Danielle, instead of Daniel. Like, what? They're very warped sense of accomplishment. Like that you're proud of that as like a I don't know, a badge that you wear. I don't know. I'm very judgy today. I'm sorry. It's on my Barbie juice, my pink lemonade. I'm gonna tell people what I think.
That's right. We're all sitting down at the hair salon with the pink lemonade, saying, "Let me dish.
Let me tell you, people, what you need to be doing."
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you were saying, "Oh, we should probably break in this for." By the way, somebody loved your hat.
Aw.
But
cute.
Cool.
Yeah.
But
anyways, I was sorry, I was going to say with the kid like a designer handbag thing. Okay, when you think of the upper class women who are all judgy about what kind of a handbag you have, that is so much kinder. That is so much kinder to be like, oh, well, I have a designer handbag and fancy shoes. I'm in the club, than to say, I'm sorry, we're all vegan now, and you have to do what we do with everything else. Oh, now the thing is you have to be of the correct politics, or you have to, or your kids are this way and it's a medically altering this way. It's not they're on the football team. That is the status symbol, as opposed to just a piece of leather that you exchange money for, or maybe you got it on sale. But even so, like, it's like, I know what brands to buy, therefore I'm in the club, is so much better than some sort of like in your flesh compliance with whatever the ideology is.
Yeah. Do you guys think it's a women problem, really? Like the group thing? Because like how ladies, like, we all go to the bathroom at the same time. We do things in packs. Do you think it's more of a woman thing?
I don't know. But what I do know is that in my life, I have two people that have changed genders, and they both struggled with eating disorders and mental health as teenagers. And that sure makes me wonder about some stuff that's going on. So I don't know if it's that kind of thing, or just that we have a rampant mental health crisis going on. And instead of treating people and helping them get through it, we're just allowing them to. It's the thing. Like, if I'm anorexic and I think I'm fat, you're not going to give me liposuction. If I'm not mentally well and I think I'm a boy, you're going to give me hormone. Like, it doesn't make sense. So that's my theory about it, but I don't know. I do think it's a lot of the moms, though. It's a lot of the moms that want to be, the liberal. I don't even want to say liberal, but the ladies who want to be doing the right thing and saying the right thing, and they're sitting there and listening and learning. And I think that we have a thing where too many people we're not strong enough to just have our own opinion and to just stand up and say, no, I don't agree with this, or I'm not going to let my kid do that. Or if my kid is trans, I'm going to wait until they're 18 for them to decide and be an adult. And I don't know.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like you're saying, Polka Dot, about, being a woman thing. Women are very good at closing, of joining the group, of doing the correct thing to join the group. But I don't know. I think there's an element too of sort of the, okay, again, designer bag status symbol. There's many fewer things that can be a status symbol. We've cut a lot of them out of our lives. And, as far as ideology, as in what we spend time on mentally, and all these things, that's like, well, what is there except political correctness to give me a status symbol? What is there for me to do for group adherence except this? Because it's become everything. You can't even have the best casserole at the church brunch, and you could have been a jerk about it, but also there would have been some competition between people for, not that there always is, but like, you're not going to the flower show. You're not, oh, well, I see that she can't sew as well as I can. Or, if everyone's sewing their own clothes, you'd be like, well, you're out of fashion, honey. That there's not those competition points between people, and we don't know people as well for the more delicate social interactions to be a thing. So I think there's a lot of people searching for meaning in things, and it's sort of sucking into one point, as opposed to little things.
Yeah, Diana says it's a social contagion. They get treated as special, and what middle schooler didn't want to be part of the in crowd? I mean, there is a lot of that, and I don't remember if it was Bertie or a different guest we had, but they mentioned they had a niece who said that they were like non-binary just because everybody was saying it, and to be a girl wasn't enough anymore. And so to not be ostracized, they kind of went along with it. And so I can see that part of it too. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I always say, I mean, to anyone who will listen to me with my big mouth, but like if I was born now, like if I was a child now with all the non-binary different body, I'm sure that I would have gotten preyed upon because I love boy stuff. Wrestling, heavy metal, making stuff, building things, all of that stuff. But I also like princesses. I like making clothes. I like girly stuff. I like makeup and not nails anymore. Like I used to paint them, whatever. But like having that, it's illegal now to be a like almost like a black sheep. It's back then it was not a big deal, but now because I struggled too with like I don't like the way I look, I don't like this, I don't like that, and I'm sure it would have
Puberty
because
sucks.
most girls, yeah, I'm sure most girls feel that way. Like I'm not as pretty as the popular girls. I'm not as well liked. I don't have as many friends. I'm not this. I'm not that. It's all these negative things, and now it's almost like instead of trying to help the younger girl, like thank God, like I had, my mom was always helping me, and I had, different things happen for me that I didn't end up in that way. But without that, these poor kids, they just like you're saying, they're trying to fill some kind of void, and unfortunately, it's this current, binary, non-binary, whatever the other alphabet letters are, and not to be disrespectful, but whatever the latest, I don't know however many there are, but all the other things that they go through, it's just really sad. It's just it I don't know. We don't appreciate uniqueness anymore. We don't appreciate having a different opinion or a different worldview. And I can only speak on the ladies' side, especially when you like boy stuff. Before, boys would think, oh, that's cool, I can talk to her about this. But now you can't talk to her about this because she thinks she thinks she's one of the guys, literally. I used to have mostly boy friends because I liked gross humor, burping, all that kind of stuff. I thought it was funny. But now you can't do that anymore. It's there's no, having a girl that you can talk to about boy stuff was a prize, and now it's like, no, you can't do that. That means you're a boy. It's just this weird definitions.
Yeah. And
it is weird.
Also, with the, teenagers they feel alone. I'm the only one. And how much of that is going into online communities and stuff and be like, oh, I feel like I'm not in the right, body. Is gay for you? I think gay's for you. And is trans, it's a promotional thing. But I mean, so I'm a weird, nerdy girl. It's like, okay, if it's like, yeah, a bit. It's like, hello, are you into nerd stuff? Are you into the dramatics? Do you like classical literature? All of the online jokes will be like, so you're gay, huh? And I'm like, still not. Still very into men. Thank you, though. Just saying, very, very pro dudes. But and sorry, also what you're saying about not being able to say it from the guy's side, again, not that I can say it from the guy's side, but it's the closing of imagination too. How many things do guys just not engage with because they don't want to say it's gay or anything? It's like, no, sorry, heterosexual. And everything from men's fashion to different types of music to literature, also poetry, different things like that like they're like, will not engage, sorry, will not. It's like, dudes are out there, sorry, I'm into women, I'm not gonna dress nicer just in case anybody thinks or anything like that.
I think part of parenting, I don't know how this turned into a parenting podcast today, but I think part of a parent's
You're the
job,
expert on the panel, just saying.
I'm the expert because by default I'm the only one with kids, but no, but I think part of doing a good job parenting is instilling the confidence in your kids. Like I surround them with people that have similar viewpoints and stuff, but also I encourage them to talk to people they don't know. I encourage them to dude, I remember being a kid, right? And I was the most awkward. I was so shy. I would not speak to people, right? And it really hindered me. And you just, if if you are happy with who you are, it's a lot easier to be confident and to go out and ignore the other things that are going on around you. Um, I don't know, like there are lesbian women that are very masculine. That does not mean that they're men, and that there are men who are either. I mean, some women are just tomboys either way, but then we're getting rid of all the feminine gay men and stuff because we're turning everybody into trans. Like we just gotta stop. Like be confident in who you are. My husband is a heavy metal, beer drinking, football watching guy who sometimes knits with me because he doesn't give a crap what anybody else thinks. And that's what he's going to do. And you just need to like encourage that feeling of like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. But Jen said, you know, who feels comfortable in their body when all the weird body parts are getting weirder? Like for real. That's
no, really.
Oh my gosh. I remember my kids are getting older, man, and now there's hormones and everybody's got all these emotions and it's like, oh geez, this is like the next like 6 years of my life.
It's gonna be rough. That's gonna be hard, man.
But
I don't envy your position.
It's never gonna be like, oh well, maybe you should change sex because this is hard. No, maybe we should just get through it because sometimes things are hard. I think that's part of the problem. You have to struggle sometimes. Get over it.
Well said. No, I was just interrupting you because I think that's such a valid point to say that in life there are things that are hard and you get through the hard things because things are not going to be hard forever. Everything ends at some point. So the hormones and all that stuff is rough for a young girl, very rough, depending on when it starts and what's going on and what their natural personality is. It is a beast, but you get through it. And then eventually you're fine. It's not the end of the world. Like, I guess because a lot of what we do now, everything is technology, everything we're living in our phones, we're living on the internet. Our worlds, even though they're so expanded that we can potentially talk to people from across the globe and whatever, our worldview is so small. We only care about how many followers do we have, how many friends on the internet do we have, how many likes did a post get. Like that is our I mean, I guess similar to the social credit score. That's kind of our barometer for our personality. Whereas when we were growing up, we didn't have that. Like I didn't have a cell phone. I mean, I didn't have what was it? I guess it was later. It was like MySpace and all that kind of stuff. Like we didn't have these things when we were little. And I think probably we're better for it because we were measuring our value based on like how many friends we had in school, like tangible, actual people that we can like, you know, shake a hand. But now the internet makes it feel so much worse. Like if we are weirdos online, like nerdy or really like specific niche things like Dragon Ball or something, and if people don't like us for that, it feels so much worse. Whereas like as a girl, when I was in school, I was the only one who liked wrestling. Big deal. Okay. Not a problem. I eventually in high school found another girl who happened to like wrestling and we were best friends. But like now the internet just makes all of these little personality quirks that just because this group of people doesn't like you doesn't mean everybody hates you. Doesn't mean that everything is such a big deal, but it just feels so much worse for these poor kids because we don't discourage them from, you know.
Yeah. But social media is terrible, and they've done studies that show that it like increases rates of depression and stuff in kids. It's not made for teenagers. It's not made for and yeah, when you see, that's the problem though, is like all day long I will shelter my kids. They're going to be the weird sheltered kids and I don't care because they don't need to know the things that are out there. They will get big. They will catch up with what everybody else already knows, and they will be better for it. But when you're seeing trans people online and it's all glorified, you got Dylan Mulvaney out there dancing around like a Nimrod. What are you gonna? You think that's normal, and then you think there's something wrong with you because, well, you're not like that. So
Yeah,
comparison
right.
is the thief of joy.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, you're measuring yourself against other people. So if you see your friends are embracing the whole trans thing or the rainbow flag or whatever it is, and you're not, then you must be bad. You must conform because you certainly want friends. You want to be popular. You want, you don't want to lose your friend group because it's kind of, especially with the internet, that's all you got.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a dangerous world out there.
Yes.
It is. It just,
No good.
it kind of makes me think of back when I was a teenager. And I guess it's wrong to think of social interactions as, internet news cycles. But, remember when you were a teenager and you'd have a group of people that you only hung around with a little bit, and you would have to tell your friends what the other person had done, and it'd be like a little drama thing. Did you hear about so and so? Did you hear this? And it'd be back and forth, and then this would go on for weeks. Whatever the drama is that happened a month ago in your friend group. And it's like, oh yeah, that's petty gossip, that's drama or something. It's like that compared to now is an attention span. Keeping up with people, talking to your friends in person about things, having that little stuff. I mean, I worked at a summer camp, so it'd be like I would have to remember things that happened with my friend group. And I mean, we all do this to a certain extent, but it would be a different level of attention and remember to talk to in time, as opposed to I'll messages and I'm going to keep up with you on social media. They're like, there's none of that. I had to keep the mental attention, which I don't know, maybe that's just on me now, but
yeah, I remember when I was a camp counselor for one glorious summer. Keeping up with the drama with the kids and knowing, this little kid doesn't like that little kid, and this one said that, and whatever, it seemed, it was simpler times, I guess. It wasn't, I mean, I'm sure now if I were to do the whole camp counseling thing, which I would love to do, but I don't even know, if they do that in my town anymore. But with all their cell phones and who's video recording who and what post goes viral in their small little friend group, it's like you can't even make a mistake. As an example, I don't know, I'm sure I've done it where I had to play baseball and I'm not a sportsy, so I'm terrible at it. So if somebody recorded me doing that now and put that on the internet, imagine how huge that felt, thinking millions or thousands of people could have seen it. Whereas before, if I'm in gym and I stink at baseball and a bunch of kids laugh at me, yeah, that feels crappy, but it's one class. And will they remember it during my high school tenure? Yeah, probably. But now, probably not. No one cares. Unless it was my pants fell down at the same time. It had to be super dramatic if that happened. But these, I don't know. It's you can't be a kid. You can't make a mistake. You can't be a nonconformist, because anything that you do could potentially be on the internet and then haunt you the rest of your life. With employers, how they search your social media and look up all this stuff about you. You can never make a mistake, and that's terrible.
Yeah. Well, Ann and I were talking about it a little bit when we did our regular show on Sunday about how JD Vance has said some stuff. There were some pictures of him passed out after playing beer pong, different things. We live in the world of social media now. That stuff that everybody has always done is going to be more prevalent now. And so you can get upset about it, or you can just kind of move on. But everybody being like, oh, well, he was, passed out. Okay, so Anne hasn't passed out from drinking, and some people in our comments hadn't. But I would say the vast majority of people watching have done something stupid, had too much to drink playing beer pong. And I mean, my husband slept under his truck once when he had too much beer because he thought it would be cool. They woke up in the morning why the hell am I under my truck? But that was before social media.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know where I was
It's
going with that. I'm sorry.
No, well, it's a combination of things. Like it's not being able to make a mistake where things end up going viral, but it's also for the people who are capturing these things to get some kind of social points. I always call it internet points. Like when you have a more snappy comment, when you're more politically learned than the next person, it sort of in a way gives you this little boost. I don't even know what it is, but it's like, oh well, this post had more likes than this other person's, or I ratioed them or whatever. Like there's these things that we tend to do, and I'm not saying they're all bad, because sometimes ratioing can be kind of funny. But there's these things that we do that we put more value on that than anything else now. And if someone had recorded your husband falling asleep under a truck, it'd be like, Father of the Year sleeping under a truck. Like it's unnecessary to be doing these things. Like it's just so that that person can feel a little bit better about themselves that they didn't do it. It's just it's what are we actually measuring? What are we actually saying is a valuable thing for a person? It doesn't make him a bad person to have done it. Everybody does something stupid, like you said. It's like, and if you didn't do that thing, you might have done something else, and that doesn't make you better than
people don't happen to know about that thing that you did.
Absolutely. But now with a lot of the young kids, everyone knows everything you've ever done, because there's always someone with their phone recording every little second of the day, or vlogging, or if people still do that or whatever, like,
or live streaming it like us, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
No mistakes ever.
Exactly. Like if kids can think that like the skibbity toilet thing is humor, I'm sure they, everything is, nothing is out of bounds with putting on the internet. Yeah. I still don't understand the skibbity toilet, I'll be honest. I have absolutely no idea. I asked my nieces and nephews, it's stupid. It's like, explain to me how this is funny. They'll just say, I don't know, it's funny. It's a head in a toilet. Can you explain to me, like, at least when it comes to humor from our generation, you could explain the joke, right?
Yeah.
Reasonably. But now, what is that? I don't understand. I
don't think
the
slang too,
ask,
and I'm like, no.
Yeah, and it's connection. No, it's kind of the same thing with the internet. It's like there is no forgiveness, and it's very you have to do the right thing, but also I'm not going to tell you the rules.
Right.
I'm sorry, you have to conform, and quickly, and as soon as your friends do. It's like you're a teenager and you're stupid and you do stupid teenager things and somebody records you and suddenly that's following you forever. But you don't know the rules because you're a stupid teenager. That happens. You say something wrong, you do something you're not supposed to. And it's like, even, further into adulthood, it's like there's no room for having a mistake, just as there's no room for having an imagination. It's like you have to be correct, and you have to conform, and you have to do the next thing correctly and conformity wise. So
yeah.
But
I don't know. So now we figured out how to be good parents and
solved everything. Everything.
That's right.
I don't think I solved anything, but I tried.
No, see, if we have more of these little things, we'll just solve all the world's problems. Like,
Well, every other Tuesday. But it is after 8, so that means that I have to go hang out with my kids before bed. So, because the parenting never stops, but it's actually my favorite time of day, because then we snuggle and talk about things. So, it's a nice time. But yeah. So, thanks for coming, Polka Dot. Like, I don't mean to abruptly end this, but it got deep fast today. I had like some reading to show, but that's okay. I got another show. We'll be fine.
All right.
But yeah, and I saw some new people in the chat. So hey, thanks for coming and finding us. I'm kind of stoked that people are discovering us, because I think they don't like it when that happens. The powers that be on the internet. So that's cool and fun. But is there anything we got to do before we go, Anne? Are we good?
Well, I think. Hang on. It's gonna work out for me.
Oh, okay. What's happening?
Oh, you're all good.
Are we waiting for you? Are you doing something?
Oh no, you're fine. Sorry.
Oh, I thought I was waiting for you for something. Okay,
Oh.
so
Ta-da!
friends.
There. I did a thing.
Hey,
Cool.
links.
Links. So check
That's
out
very
Polka Dot.
cool.
There
Yeah,
we
check
go.
out Polka Dot. She's cool. She has really
That's
great
as far as
stuffed
I can
animals.
go and doing something cool. I can post a link, man. I'm there.
I wanna I kind of want a bat for myself, honestly. But I know if I got one, kid number 2 would be all over it. So.
Well, there's
that.
22
But
of them, so if you're interested, I kind
I
of
don't-
went back crazy.
No, but they're so cute. So
Thank you.
check out Polka Dot. Check out Anna and myself. I think we're doing a live this weekend. We'll have more details about that because Anne's got to go do some family stuff. So, but yeah. So we'll see you this weekend. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks, Polka Dot. We'll see you later. All right, bye.
Bye.